Hey, Fringe listeners, it's Nikki Lewallen Gregory, and our team at PeopleForward Network this year has launched an internal podcast, and we are sharing out a few of those episodes each month, and here's one of those. Our goal is to model the way for people-forward leadership and to model the way on how we build collaborative, energized teams that love what they do together. And so, my topic today that I wanted to share with you, and it's also to advance our team internally at People Forward Network, is how we create high performance, energy, and engagement among each other. So, the first point that I want to talk about is the power of finding everyone's uniqueness as a human. We do this in many ways, but there are two assessments that we leverage. And I would encourage you to find your favorite assessment tools that help you find the uniqueness of your people. The first one that I like, and it's not necessarily in order, we've used many, but two that are really helping us. And we're about to head off to our team retreat for 2024. We like to do that in a nature oriented place, typically a cabin, and we just get away with each other. And this time we're doing 3 days and just hunkering down and helping to develop each other holistically and to advance our business and to learn new things together, mind, body, soul. And I'm really excited about it. We're going to be revisiting these two assessment tools that we use that are foundational for us. Number one is the WHY.os. It is powerful. We ran into the Why Institute folks a couple years ago, and I learned about the story behind this company. The founder, Gary Sanchez, he partnered with Simon Sinek to really take the data behind finding your why. And, Simon Sinek's famous start with why, your how, your what, right? And it expands out, but it all starts with why. They have developed a tool that helps to put language alongside the why, your why, my why, and our hows and our whats. And each of our team members has taken that, and it has been really powerful to see what is that internal greatest motivator, the why we work, and to be able to see commonalities and uniqueness in that. And then how we work when it comes to how we show up, the doing part of what we do. And then what is it that we're out to impact? So for me, my why is to contribute to something bigger than myself, to know that I am helping other people advance. So I was like, yes, spot on. Absolutely. My how is to find a better way. This was so powerful for me to do this exercise and to see this report, because before I always had some shame around my finding new ways that people would say, oh, what's she doing now? Or, oh, we're changing stuff again. And it finally helped me see that I have a unique gift around innovation and wanting to level things up. And we're only going to find a better way if needed. And I'm a big advocate for we're not always going to do things the way that we did them. And that could include 2 weeks ago. If we find a better way, we're going to do it. So that's my how. And then my what is to challenge. My what is to take, a opportunity that is presented and just challenge, is that really the opportunity? Or challenge people to think differently so that we're not just going along with what has been said or what has been presented, but to ask deeper questions and really get to the heart, going back to, why I see that. Also coinciding with why is like my what is so much around narrowing in on that why of the project and making sure that that's it, so that we really lean into providing the best solutions or finding the best ways that we can help. So I shared mine just because they're very top of mind for me. I'm trying to really leverage those and go deeper with them. And all of our team now has a common language, and we're learning from each other on what makes us tick and how to collaborate to lean into each person's why. It's a pretty powerful effort. The other is strengths. So many of you that are listening have to be familiar with Gallup. So Gallup Clifton Strengths, also known as Strengths Finder, that was a book that was really popular and probably still is popular. I don't know. But there is an assessment in that book, or, from Gallup Clifton Strengths, that helps you identify your core strengths. And the way that we have been taught this from our partners at 34 Strong, which are one of the consulting companies that administer these strengths reports and train and coach people and teams on this, is there's 34 strengths across the board. So giving language to different strengths types. And we have top strengths. And it's important to lean into our strengths rather than focusing on our quote unquote weaknesses. So whatever my 34th in ranking is or my 30th in ranking, good to be aware of those, but I'm not going to focus on those or focus on really improving those unless there's something toxic there that I need to overcome. I'm going to focus on my top 5, maybe top 10. That's how our team is doing it, really narrowing in on the top 5 strengths and then the top 10. And that's really where we see a big grid for our company, and they're color coded into 4 different themes so that we can understand the come from, the theme type, whether it's relationships or influence. Those are 2 of the theme types. And when we have a project, who's going to be best for this project? And when I'm doing the work that leans into my strengths, gosh, I'm so much more energized and the time goes by. I'm excited about my day. And we also learned from our coaching and training at 34 Strong that each of us have what we call dirty diapers. We all have to do dirty diapers. However, People Forward Network has decided we all want to be living in our strengths 85% of the time. We've referenced that as our balcony, like living in the balcony. And we all know that we all have dirty diapers. And sometimes we have to work in the basement where it's dark and cold. And so that ratio of 85% in the strengths and 15% in the, weaknesses or challenge areas, the things that don't make us tick, if you will, is really our ratio that we hold each other accountable to. So, in this portion of how to create high performing, energized, engaged teams and people in your company, I think it is so important to lean into each person's uniqueness, their unique abilities, and God given skills, and help everyone on the team understand those so that we're really leveraging the right people for the right roles and tasks. As we walk through this to further that, once we know, what those assessments are for us, and once we find each person's uniqueness, I think it's really important to say we have to revisit this regularly. It's not like I took the report and now I know this in and out for myself and for my team. It's a regular revisiting and going deeper. There's always more to talk about and learn about in this, and hear people's stories of, how did your strength of adaptability show up this month? Or where did empathy, which is one of your core strengths, where did you elevate that recently? And having deeper conversations to get examples from team members is really powerful. So we're excited to do more of that at our retreat coming up. When you're leading people, it's so easy to just jump in and do what you know how to do because it's easy for you. You're like, oh, I'll just get that done. And delegation is so critical and powerful. I'm actually excited that my show, Gut Plus Science, we're seeking a partner to do a delegation series because I've seen how delegation directly ties to engagement. When you feel trusted and you start taking on more responsibility, engagement goes up. And so the next point I want to make is the importance of deferring to the person on your team that has the best strength to lead or execute an initiative. As the leader, as each person, like sit and reflect on, am I the best person for this? Or is there someone else that has a better strength spot and loves this kind of work that I want to defer to? I think that's just a regular habit that we need to build in to our practices. As we continue to climb this ladder of building high performing and energized and engaging teams, recognizing and celebrating the greatness of each person and team efforts regularly is so important. It fuels the fire. We all have different needs or wants for our recognition, kind of like the 5 love languages. Some people want a, announcement made to all people. Other people want a personal card in the mail that has, a heartwarming message. Whatever that is, however you do it, recognizing and celebrating the greatness of each team member is really an energizing component that is a must to keep seeing that performance and energy and engagement rise. So to think about as a leader reflecting on when was the last time I asked my people how they like to be recognized? And then how do you build in regular reminders until you really form a habit of recognizing and celebrating greatness of each individual team member and each team within the organization, and tell as many stories as you can rather than, hey, you're doing a great job. Let me level that one up and say, hey, Chelsea, you're doing a really great job of looking at all of our current systems and finding better ways to improve those systems. And everyone's lives are just flowing easier. We have less stress. Thank you so much. It's just much more of a meaningful recognition for people. And then the last point that I'd like to make in how do we create these high performing and energized and engaged people and teams is we must dedicate time for collaboration and encourage individual collaboration. So, dedicating time for team collaboration, a standing weekly meeting that includes recognition, that includes challenges we're trying to solve, that includes updates from team members. So, whatever it looks like from a dedicating time for groups of people to get together and collaborate to recognize and celebrate and solve problems, that and encouraging one-on-one collaboration, not just leader to team member, but one-to-one peers, and encouraging that. And I think there's different ways of doing this. Yes, work related topics and building this practice or belief in that we all ask for help, and we find people on the team that have the strength to help us, and we ask for that help, and we dedicate time to collaborate with them and build relationships with them. And then the other side that I think's often overlooked is the opportunity for one-on-one peers to mentor each other. And that could be whole life mentoring, parenting topics, getting involved in the community topics. You see things in other people on the team that they're really great at. And it's not necessarily the niche tied to the work, but it is, dang, Megan is such a good listener. Well, I'm going to ask Megan if she can, just be a little bit more offering of that skill that she's so good at, that's not directly tied to our role. She does it all the time, but to teach other people that, or to collaborate when someone's having a tough week and they're stressed. Maybe you have a great way for getting yourself organized. Maybe you have an office space that other people on the team are admiring because you love to be in your office and the way you set up your desk. Grab some one-on-one time to collaborate to help other people elevate their office space and to just share what you know. Knowledge transfer is what mentoring is, and whether that is skills that are directly tied to your role or things that you do that just make your life better. I think it's important as leaders that we encourage and dedicate time for collaboration, whether that's in a group format or individual one-on-one. So, for the People Forward Network team, I encourage you to share with us in our Slack channel about our show, the People Forward Way, modeling the way. Share your feedback. We want to hear, how are you using the WHY.os and strengths, and how are you leaning into other team members or deferring to other team members' strengths when they might do this better than you, and to be able to delegate things to them because they love it. And how are you playing a role in recognizing and celebrating the greatness of others? And are you dedicating time among your peers to help them advance, or asking for help? Asking for help is one of our culture codes at People Forward Network. And the more that we ask for help, the more that other people get to feel meaningful in their opportunity to use what they have to share with others. We hope that you enjoyed this episode of our inside show, The People Forward Way, that we are airing on Fringe regularly. Would love to know if you've got ideas or questions. Hit us up on LinkedIn or send us an email at the People Forward Network.